guess we can sleep good tonight. The little boys in blue got everything under control, right, baby?
She's being held by some guy, probably a ransom job. They're moving in on him right now.
You're gonna go with them on the bus, right?
Sure, why not?
All right, good. Now, just remember, I hate crooks and bad guys. You know that, right? So I don't want you to show no mercy. And listen, don't feel too badly if accidentally the girl gets it. In fact, I'll tell you what you do. You make absolutely sure the girl gets it.
You, sure that's what you want?
Just do what you're told, okay?
Okay. What's happening? Has that friend of yours on the police heard anything yet?
Nothing to worry about. They got a bead on that Jody Travis chick, the one you were worried about.
I couldn't care less. I'd like it if she'd just disappear for good.
Now, listen. Eddie Lorimer's got everything under control now. I'm taking care of all problems, okay? Go brush off Picasso, huh?
We let you talk to your sister. Doesn't that prove that we don't want to hurt you?
She sounded awful. She still doesn't even know why I'm not coming home.
She'll understand everything after we get to Eden.
And when am I going to understand everything? I still don't know what you want me to do.
We want you to see for yourself what's happening there. We want you to know what hell there can be when criminals run your country.
Then you'll want to help us, Jody. We're sure of it.
How? How am I going to help you? What can one person do?
One person can change the world. You can save our country.
Do you really believe that? Do you really think that I am going to save your country just because my great whatever was the martyr of Eden?
She was a folk hero. She was a symbol of resistance and freedom.
She lives again in you. You can be the inspiration. You can be the rallying point.
Oh, my God. You don't seriously want me to lead some kind of a revolution, do you?
That is exactly what we want you to do.
There you are, Raven. Where have you been?
Oh, I've been out making a fool of myself, that's where.
Well, the last time I saw you, you said you were going to be spending the evening in your own room. You even asked me to send Mark and Nancy up after they arrived.
Well, I just didn't want to stay there after they left. You know, I wanted to go out and meet people. I wanted to go out to dinner. Is that so terrible?
No. At least you might have knocked on my door and told me you were going out.
Oh, do I have to report to you every time I go out of the house? If it's like that here, I can just imagine what it's going to be like when I live with you.
Now, just calm down, my dear. You're letting your temper get the best of you. Now, tell me what it was that happened that made you so upset.
I saw him at the restaurant.
Him? Ah, yes. You mean Skylar.
Yes, he was having dinner with Valerie Bryson. I know he always had a soft spot for that little skinny... There I go again. I can't believe it. I keep mixing up the two.
Yes, you do seem to have trouble making that distinction, don't you? Personally, I think it's unhealthy. For your own sake.
He was so rude to me. He was more rude to me than any man has ever been. Do you know that he actually asked me to leave?
He asked you to leave a public restaurant?
No, he asked me to leave the table.
His table?
Well, I just sat down there for a second just to be sociable.
Mm-hmm. Something tells me this chance encounter was not left to chance. You knew Skylar was going to be dining in that restaurant, didn't you?
Well, I didn't know with who.
Why, how could you do anything so silly? What did you hope to accomplish?
Because I have to fight for what's mine.
I don't see how you can go on deceiving yourself like this. Nothing was yours. It was all stolen property. And you were simply its caretaker for a time, that's all. Now, that is over.
I don't want it to be over.
And just how do you intend to wage this battle?
There's only one way. Skylar Whitney fell madly in love with me once. And you know, I just keep getting better.
You know, there are times when I think you actually did have an emotional collapse, the way you're talking now.
Well, that's real nice. Why don't you just say I'm crazy?
Well, it's totally irrational to think that this is the same man you married with the same temperament, the same responses.
All men have the same responses.
Schuyler's only response to you right now is one of resentment. He thinks you are responsible for taking everything away from him. So how do you expect him to like you now?
Well, I'm just going to have to work harder at it. And don't you dare try to discourage me, because it's my only salvation.
Your only salvation, Raven, lies within yourself, not in the approval of another person.
Well, he may be angry with me now, but I'll just have to get over it. And as for tonight, well, he couldn't show his true feelings toward me because he was with another woman.
Surely you don't believe that.
Well, there must be some explanation. I know what it is. It's my hair.
Your what?
My hair. I shouldn't have cut it. I'm going to have to let it grow now. I'm going to have to make an appointment first thing tomorrow morning with my hairdresser and see if she can do anything for me.
You still pack a mean suitcase, Spencer. Bet Mr. Whitney appreciates that. Of course, you're not in the suitcase packing business now, are you? What do they call that? File clerk?
Schuyler told me you did all his valet work, Gunter. You care to take over?
No. You're doing too good a job. Sure, I've done all kinds of work for Mr. Whitney, and he pays me very well for it. I see you got a pretty big wad of money today. How much was there?
Why don't you go downstairs to the bar and have a drink, Gunter?
Oh, come on, Spencer. How much was there? 5,000, 6,000, 10, 20, 30? Mr. Whitney must be very grateful for what you did for him. I understand that you practically did it all by yourself.
Oh, actually, a friend of mine named Libby Webster. She suspected the truth first. She stayed in Switzerland, took care of Sky. I just came to the States and tried to verify his story.
Yeah, well, I have to admit, you did a pretty good job of it. Of course, you got a pretty good job for doing it, didn't you? Pushing around the Whitney millions. And if I know Sky Whitney, he doesn't keep a very close eye on his books. You could do very well for yourself, Spencer.
You suggesting that I might try to take advantage of Schuyler?
Who, me? Hey, no. But every job has its opportunities.
You know something, Gunter? I didn't know you very well when we worked for the Bowies, but well enough to know that I don't like your attitude sometimes.
Oh, gee, hey, I'm real sorry about that. Hey, look, don't worry. We're going to get along just fine. As long as we don't get in each other's way.
Right. You stick to your job and I'll stick to mine.
Good. Yep. I remember the Bowie job, too. That's where I met sweet little Nora, my Roxanne. Remember her, Spencer?
Yes, I remember her.
I sure loved that little girl. Until her trolley went off the track. Had to put her in that hospital. Where do you think she is now?
$2,000. Enough for a one-way ticket to no place. Spencer must have had 10,000 in that roll of his. Why should I get a measly 2?
Sit there sends chills up my spine. You couldn't possibly replace my father.
Slow down, sweet tooth. I'm not looking to replace your old man. And if I was, the first thing I'd do is put you over my knee and give you a little spanking for the 2x4.
Oh, I gather you think that's humorous.
You know, you better get used to things the way they are, because I got a flash for you. You can't change them.
What you're saying is I'm going to be taking orders from a junk man till my father gets back.
Talking about junk, you must have bought about 2.5 tons of it for this art gallery here. You know, your father was a terrific front man. Great, looked good, nice, Dressed pretty nice, not as good as me, of course.
Huh.
Had a cute little beard. I bet you he drank brandy out of one of those gobblers or whatever.
Goblets.
Yeah, that thing.
My father was a man of culture and refinement.
And I'm a junk man. Is that the idea? Well, this junk man is now the Endicott Art Gallery.
This is my gallery. My father gave it to me. Why don't you stay with something you know, like junk?
I'll tell you what I know. I know how to make money. Something that escaped you and your father. Let me tell you something. You're getting very nervous lately. You might need a little vacation. Would you like to join your father for a nice, long rest in Eden? Huh?
No, thank you.
You're so crazy about your father, I thought maybe you'd like to join him. You know, the weather is lovely this time of year in Eden.
I get your point.
Good. Don't lose it. Poppy, there she is. How are you, baby?
Oh, gee, this really is an art gallery.
Well, that's a matter of opinion. It'd probably make more money if it was a parking lot. This is Grace Endicott. She owns the joint. That's on paper, by the way. This is my personal secretary, Poppy Johnson.
Miss Johnson?
Now, listen, I'm going to be working out of this dump for a while, see? So I want you to get used to the place, walk around, take a look, make yourself comfortable, you know?
It's really nice, Eddie. Oh, I love this abstract. It's a Michelson, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
All right, look, don't worry about the paint on the walls. Come over here. We're going to talk about the paint on your face now. We're going to have to change your image a little bit. You see these dresses? You got to stop buying dresses from them guys on the streets with the clothes racks.
Yes, Eddie, whatever you say.
In fact, you know something? Maybe Miss Endicott can help you. Maybe she can help you pick out some designer clothes. You know, teach you how to talk to those highbrow types that come into this joint, huh?
You must be joking.
Well, I know the first thing that you can do for me, Miss Endicott.
And what is that, Miss Johnson?
You can show me where the powder room is.
Where am I going to find a mental midget to buy this stuff?
Marie Bonaventure, daughter of Prince Alexis, only 19 when her father decided to make his country into a republic so that the people could choose their government, decide their own destinies.
But I can't be a replacement for this woman. I'm nothing like her. She was married. She had a child.
A girl, less than 1 year old. And her name was Leonora.
Leonora. That was my mother's name. But she preferred to be called Leonie.
Leonora, the crown jewel in the royal family. Prince Alexis, his wife Morgana, their daughter Marie, her husband Andrew, and their own child, Leonora.
But if the country became a democracy, then the royal family would lose control, wouldn't they?
No, the royal family didn't really rule. The parliament, which was made up of the aristocracy, did.
The aristocrats didn't want democratic rule. They wanted to stay in power. They controlled the military. They decided that Alexis should be overthrown by force.
And what happened?
They attacked the palace. There was no opposition. The palace guard ran at the very first sight of them. The prince, his family, and the baby were left to defend themselves against thousands.
That was the beginning of the legend.
Marie Bonaventure grabbed the pistol from her father. She ran to the top of the steps. She took aim and she ordered them to disperse. Alone. They all laughed at her. 5,000 grown men threatened by a 19-year-old girl. They stopped laughing when she fired at one of the generals, and she hit him too. But he was saved by a chest full of medals. And then
she was killed.
They didn't want to kill her, Jody. But a royal archer shot her with an arrow.
So she was killed. That's how she became a martyr.
No one rejoiced at the death of Marie Bonaventure. Not even the aristocrats.
the archer who killed her was hanged. But that didn't make up for their loss.
Their loss?
Of course. They knew they created a martyr, and that they would lose the sympathy of the people.
They deposed the prince, of course, and his family. They forced him into exile. He chose to live in America. They settled not far from here.
Right, you mentioned that. That's the castle in Graham County.
Yes, Raleigh Castle. The Raleighs brought it over brick by brick 100 years ago.
But Eden did become a republic.
The people did it on their own. It took time, but they threw out the corrupt aristocrats. And they did it all in the name of Marie Bonaventure.
But it sounds like she was only defending her own home, her own family.
But it was such a brave thing to do.
Now, can you understand why the people of Eden took this story to their heart? The way that they will take you to their heart. You belong to them.
Are you really sure that this was my mother's family?
Marie's child was born in America. She married, had children of her own. Her children had children.
You are the last one of them, Jody. You were the last child. You are our last hope.
And there's one more thing, Jody. I saw the portrait, your portrait. And you look exactly like Marie Bonaventure.
Well, Mr. Keyes, remember me?
Yes, I remember. You are a police officer who was here.
Yes. This is Detective Tyler and Lieutenant Loomis.
I don't know what you people want from me. This is the second, no, the third time I have been bothered by the same thing.
Mr. Keyes, we wouldn't be bothering you if Jody Travis had returned, but she hasn't.
I told you everything I know. If that girl was here, and I don't know if she was only here for a few moments.
And she spoke to some middle-aged lady, right?
Yes, that is right.
You're lying,
Hey,
Keyes.
Loomis, take it easy. Look, Mr. Keyes, we think you know a lot more than you're telling us.
What? There was a phone call made from this telephone by Jody Travis herself. Now, why don't you just tell us where she is?
But that is impossible. This is the only phone I have. It is always right here. There has been a mistake.
No mistake. Somebody made a call from that phone.
Look, we've got a search warrant, Mr. Keyes. Now, we're going to go over this place from top to bottom. That includes your storeroom and your living quarters.
I don't live here. I live in an apartment down the street.
Look, I don't care. We want to check this whole place out. The basement, storerooms, everything.
All right. All right. But I know nothing about a phone call that came here. Nothing.
You saying that something like that could happen?
Kids, Lieutenant. You will be surprised what kids will do today.
Kids?
No, you are a cop. You should know.
You want us to believe that someone made a phone call while you weren't watching?
I am here alone. Sometimes I'm out of the shop 5 minutes, 10 minutes, in the storeroom, in the basement.
Mr. Keyes, why don't you just start by showing us the storeroom?
After you, Mr. Keyes.
Yes, I will show you.
I get the feeling we're not going to find much here or anyplace else around here.
You're right. He's too anxious to show us the place.
Something about this whole deal smells bad. Yes,
I agree. Yeah. Look, let's take a look at the basement and then set up a stakeout. We'll find out what's really coming down.
Check.
But Skylar absolutely adored it. What do you think he'll think?
Raven, this is an exercise in futility.
What about this one now? You said you always liked this one.
I do, but I don't consider a dress or a new hairdo to be the key to all happiness.
That's because you've forgotten. It's been a long time since you've tried to vamp a man.
I don't tell you everything. In any case, the verb to vamp went out with Theta Barra.
But the principle hasn't.
Raven, try to be practical about this whole thing, will you? Skylar is not going to change his attitude toward you just because you have a new dress or a new hairdo or anything else. If you think that, my dear, you're in for a big disappointment.
Well, he's human, isn't he? And if he can go for Valerie Bryson, he can certainly go for me. You don't think he's really going to make me give up my name, do you?
It's one of his demands, yes.
Well, he can't make me.
He's not trying to make you do anything. You agree to certain things to avoid legal action.
All right, I'll do it. I'll just have to get it back. Tell me something. Do you think my figure's as good as it used to be?
There is nothing wrong with the way you look, only with the way you think.
But I'm older.
Well, everyone is older than he was yesterday, my dear.
I wonder how old Valerie Bryson is. I bet she had her face done.
You must stop thinking so frivolously about the future.
I mean, I've been through such an ordeal, you know. I need some rest. I need sunshine and exercise. Massages and facials, that's it.
What's it?
I need a week in a health farm. I have got to go into training.
Shoot. Empty.
Wonder how that happened.
Evaporation?
Is this your regular routine, Gunter?
I do not drink when I'm working, Spencer.
Oh, so now you're making up for it. Is that it?
Oh, come on, Spence. I thought we had a deal. You don't tell me what to do. I don't tell you what to do.
Right. We have a deal, Gunter.
Hey, look, will you stop worrying? I'm not gonna break up the furniture. Mother hen. I think I'm gonna take a little nap.
Don't get up, Gunter. What the hell are you doing here? You're supposed to be out of town by now.
I decided I don't have enough car fare.